Tonight on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, there is something weird going on with this hospital, and it might just have something to do with all those missing beautiful women around town. Tonight's movie, Faceless.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! Baby Circus. Anyways, yes, two nights! Coming off of last night's Giallo with the greatest name, the strip nude 40-hour killer. You know what? I'm still not done! It is time for more jolly goodness! I like that jelly because it's like jolly, ha ha ha. And this one is quite, how you would say, I don't know, I can't really come up with a pun about this. It's basically a facial type of situation. Anyways, so tonight's movie is called Faceless. Faceless. What possibly could that mean for what's inside this movie? Well, let's get into it. So, Faceless is about a doctor. I guess he's a brilliant plastic surgeon, but one of his clients was very upset by his botch job, and so she tries to throw acid on his face, but of course he ducks away, and one of his girls gets it right in her face, and it sort of melts and gets totally disfigured. And so he decides that he is now going to dedicate his life and his wonderful plastic surgery, elderly rehabilitation hospital, I guess, clinic. He's going to use his clinic to find a way to restore her face. And the way he decides to find is to find beautiful women so that they can cut their face off and transplant it onto her. And of course, he's tried many times and failed, and well, I guess he decides the best way is to find an ex-Nazi who he did human experiments because, I mean, it's a horror movie, so ex-Nazis always do weird things. Plus, I guess apparently this guy was the only one to successfully transplant a human face onto another human, I guess. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what he does. And of course, he has this beautiful blonde assistant who goes out and finds the ladies and kidnaps them. And one of them happens to be the daughter of a well-to-do business governmental official. I guess he's a business guy, but he's very important. He's got lots of connections with the U.S. government. Anyways, his daughter gets kidnapped, and of course, he hires the best private detective he can to go over to, I believe it's France, and find her and bring her home safely. And of course, he, in his investigatorial skills, leads him to that doctor and his clinic. So let's get to those scores, shall we? Violence and Gore is a 5 out of 5. Literally, people's faces get peeled off, and then they're there without a face, but their eyes are moving and their mouth, and yeah, it's gross. We also get some drillage and some other nastiness that goes on, and even though, yes, I think some of this is a little, I don't know, cheesy, and the effects might not be as spot-on spectacular as some may like, but I appreciate good dismemberments and the ballsiness to take people's face off. And so yeah, it gets quite bloody and nasty. So, yeah, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Shock value is a 2 out of 5, and all that is the shock of the gore and what they're trying to do. There's not really jump scares or anything in there. And honestly, it doesn't even give you, like, a creepy mood or anything. This movie is not about the atmosphere. This movie is about, like, the story and the violence. So, 2 out of 5. The plot, however, is a 2 out of 5 because people do some of the stupidest things, and it is really, really annoying, especially at the end. And they, you know, there is this, I don't know, they say they do things to give you the hint that time has passed, but they don't do it really. It's like a really subtle, like they'll say something about like, oh, you know, happy Thanksgiving, and then they'll talk about Christmas, and then they'll talk about New Year's. And so, you know, you get this idea that time, you know, there's a bunch of time between those moments. But the way the movie flows, it doesn't like seem like that much time actually passed. So I mean, it's subtle and you have to be paying attention. And sometimes it can be hard to pay attention, especially when you're shotgunning movies on a daily basis. But anyways, but that's not my only gripe. It's just that there's some things that characters do that just don't gel, that are kind of stupid, that create this situation where it's like, yeah, the ending, I give them credit for going where they went, but the way they got there was stupid, and I can't forgive them for making someone who was so competent throughout most of the film to be completely incompetent. And honestly, it felt very anticlimactic and kind of just like, okay, it's the end, or I guess. So anyways, unfortunately, because of that, 2 out of 5. Wish they would have done something a little bit better. It would have been a lot better. But going on, acting is going to be a 4 out of 5. Oh my god, I'm not going for the standard giallo acting 3 out of 5. No, 4 out of 5, because the guy who plays the doctor is wonderful. I love the play of the detective. Telly Savalas is the father, and he does a great job. Like, most everyone does a pretty good job, but yes, there is some of that overacting, and, you know, especially, you know, they just tell the women to just overdo it with the screaming and the you know, they just, little much, you know. You know, you're at 12, we need at 7, you're at 12, let's go down to 7. Anyways, but for the most part, though, I really did enjoy the performances so much that I give it a 4 out of 5. So moving on to Nudity, and now this is a Jess Franco movie, and it's a giallo, and yet, for some reason, maybe it's because I'm coming off a couple of giallos that have been really, really full of nudity, but this one just seemed to be, like, afraid to get sexy. I mean, it's still a 2 out of 5, but it is so much more tame that it more reminds me of an American movie. And maybe they were deciding that they wanted to get an American audience and worried about the MPAA, things like that. It just felt very restrained, and it's an interesting thing to me to see how restrained they are when other movies seem to be completely unrestrained and maybe even try to push the envelope when it comes to that sort of thing. But yes, they overcompensated with the violence, and I appreciate that. So anyways, 2 out of 5. My enjoyment factor is a 3 out of 5. It is a fun watch. I just wish the ending would have been better. I mean, I respect the ending, but still the ending is kind of stupid. And, you know, unlike other type of giallos, and this one, I guess maybe can't be considered a giallo. I throw that out there, but this is probably more of a hybrid, because, yeah, you don't have the mystery, you don't have the person in the cloak stalking people. It's just more of a mystery. Well, not mystery, more of a detective type story with lots of murder, dismemberment, and faces getting torn off. So yeah, I guess, you know, in a way, it's not really a giallo, but so yeah. So I'm gonna have to watch another one, because this one technically isn't, now that I'm thinking about it. But overall, yes, I enjoyed it. 3 out of 5. My overall impression is a 3 out of 5. It is a solid horror movie with some nice gore, some good acting, an ending that I wish they could have just done some things differently. It's almost like they just wrote themselves into a corner and made the stupidest way to, you know, resolve that. I don't know. Anyways, but still, solid, entertaining flick. 3 out of 5. And that averages out to be a 3 out of 5. How about that? So there you have it. Faceless. Tell me in the comments what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you think it is a fun watch? Do you disagree? Think it's horrible? Do you think it's a giallo? Now that I'm thinking about it, probably not really a giallo. But anyways, still worthwhile experience. Remember, comment, rate, subscribe, ring the bell, and I will see you next time. And thank you again for watching another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, otherwise known as Watch Zankoku literally get all his energy drained out of him and see his soul slowly decay and waste away in 31 parts. Whew. Yeah, it's not starting. It's been wearing on me, anyways. But until next time, thank you again for watching. Stay scary, internet, and remember, if a beautiful blonde woman that you don't know says, "Hey, come with me, and I'll give you some nice coke," don't do it. I mean, first of all, don't do drugs, kids. Drugs are bad. But second of all, most of the time, hot blonde chicks aren't going to be talking to you anyways, so, it's definitely a trap. But then again, if you're ugly, then they really don't need to remove your face, so they're getting other things. Oh, anyways,